I mean, I think the thing that happens is if you're writing about a different place, you're immediately an expert. And I am no expert on Sri Lanka. It's a strange position because in America, I walk around and people say, where are you from? Sri Lanka, where's that? Is that India? No, that's a small island. That's part of India, right? So there's sort of like complete confusion about where I'm from, but then when I say I wrote a book about it, they want, I become an expert, which absolutely not. In Sri Lanka, I'm not considered any kind of expert. I'm considered an American, right? So you have to straddle these two completely different identities, which is very complex.
I agree. And it's often, my first book came out right as the Green Revolution had begun. And so the youth of Iran were in tumult and protesting on the street. And every single reading that I went to, people asked me, what do you think is going to happen in Iran? How do you think the revolution is going to end? And what's going to happen to the youth who are protesting? And of course, I have opinions because I'm a human, but I am not an expert. And I would always preface everything I said by explaining that I was a civilian, just like you, and I don't have access to the crystal ball that tells us what's going to happen. Insofar as being a writer who's writing about a geography that Americans are largely unfamiliar with, except for the news, I think that part of the responsibility is to say, listen, I've represented this particular time period as honestly as I could. And it's not history that I'm writing, but fiction. But the fiction has truth in it. And so from whatever you can use your emotions to connect to this book and to gleam, that is what I can tell you. Beyond that, I am not, a talking head on CNN, and I can't really do that work. So that's the polite answer. The less polite answer is, I am a writer and not a political scientist, and don't ask me those questions. You don't ask American writers, what are they going to say about, such and such meltdown of the government, if they're writing about domestic drama in the suburbs, you're going to be like, blah, 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 do you use a pen or a typewriter? So I think if I had my way, I would ask them to speak to me first as a writer and then as a writer who happens to be from another place.